Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 9th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see, it was a typical Tuesday. There was no, big cosmic happenings or anything like that today. It was just work. But overall, work was good, so I'll take it. Let's see here. Food corner last night was the old pasta bolognese. General. Oh, actually, no, there was a little bit different here. I mixed it up a little bit. We on the salad, instead of the Italian, I busted out the Thousand Islands dressing I had, and I gotta say, I ate the salad. It was fine. I would definitely eat the salad again. But I realized like I'm an Italian dressing stan. Like I think that's my favorite now. Maybe like don't be wrong, still have blue cheese on my salad. If you give me a ranch, I'll take that too. But I don't know. Like I feel like Thousand Islands dressing is almost becoming like a savory dressing thing for me. Like I like it as a sauce for like fries or a burger nowadays more than I like it on my salad. It felt weird. Also, I hated the visual because I put a bunch of like ham on my shit because I'm not healthy, of course. And I was like, man, I don't know. This feels like a grandpa salad or something, like a fat grandpa salad at that. It didn't look that appetizing. But it was good. I ate it. No problems. No worries. Let's see here. The bread. I gotta have some bread. I've been on the wheat kick. I've been eating some wheat bread. It's nice. It's yummy. Good to get back to that. But I think the piece de resistance for me, the thing that really stuck out was I had the cinnamon raisin bagel and put some cream cheese on it, some everything seasoning on there. I know a little weird, a little flavor balancing, if you will, but I had some blackberries left, and so I put the remaining blackberries I had like in the like more or less just made a sandwich out of it, and oh my gosh, it was so good. It was just like a little yummy little treat to have alongside my meal. So yeah, I really enjoyed my dinner last night. I was vibing. Okay, so enough about me yapping about my day, about my food. Let me go ahead and do my startup, and then we'll get into some news. Dooby 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 doo doo. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Let's hit it. From Reuters, Arizona's top court revives 19th century abortion law. Arizona's top court on Tuesday revived a ban on nearly all abortions. excuse me. under a new law from 1984, a half century before statehood and women's suffrage, further restricting reproductive rights in a state where terminating a pregnancy was already barred at 15 weeks of gestation. The Arizona Supreme Court ruled 4-2 in favor of anti abortion obstruction, and a county prosecutor who pressed to implement the Civil War era statute after a state's Democratic attorney declined to do so. Um, some shit like this is really crazy to me. It's really sad. But I shouldn't be surprised. We're living in a world where we don't have any Roe v. Wade, to defend this shit. And, it is a free for all now. States are going to decide what they're going to, do. And it doesn't matter how extreme that is. And, at least from my perspective, of course. But let's see here. Arizona Justice John Lopez, who, like all of the state Supreme Court's members, was appointed by a Republican governor, wrote that the state's legislature has never affirmatively created a right to or independently authorized elective abortion. We defer, as we are constitutionally obligated to do, to the legislature's judgment, which is accountable to and thus reflects the mutable will of our citizens. So essentially, they kind of did the constitutionist bullshit where they're like, I mean, it's on this piece of paper. We can't really change it. So we got to abide by it, which is insane. Let's see here. I mean, I know this has kind of been something that's been fought over. And I think they kind of clawed, but like when like Democrats were in power in Arizona, they kind of clawed things back to a point. They didn't completely get rid of the law. Obviously, it's still here, but they allowed enough like exceptions. So like it's like, hey, if you're a physician, you can do an abortion, like within the legal grounds of the 15 weeks. Um, but yeah, essentially now that's overturned. It's very fucking unfortunate. In Arizona, the issue could ultimately be decided by voters after a group of abortion rights advocates last week said it gathered enough signatures to create a November ballot measure that would enshrine the state's constitution a right to an abortion until fetal viability. So, I mean, we'll definitely see if how things shake out maybe in November. Maybe things can, change from here. Something I kind of want to add because it's mentioned in this article, but Trump gets mentioned because he came out with a statement on True Social, more or less taking a little bit more of a moderate stance than maybe like what Republicans at large, or especially like harder right Republicans, or especially like pro-abortion or anti-abortion, I should say. I'm sorry. People who are like, oh look, you should be cutting out condoms. We should just be flat out having more babies. Stop killing babies in the condom, okay? Like, there are people out there that are that radical, which is crazy and scary to me. But essentially, I think Trump has focus grouped this kind of issue real hard, and he knows that it's like, look, I would love to have the Christians and all the fucking, yahoos alongside me, through thick and thin all the way. But inevitably, they'll come on side, even if they don't agree with me here. But I want to get moderate Republicans, or just moderate people in general, people who really are just kind of normal, and like this is like kind of a single issue vote for them. And if I just say, hey, I leave it up to the states, it gives you this kind of play of like, oh, well, okay, there's no national ban. Let's say I do like the cut of, Donald Trump's fat ass orange jib, then okay, I can go ahead and vote for him now. He's not going to try to like, make it so that I can't have an abortion. Like, this is something that plays really hard for suburban moms and shit. So I get him taking this tack. If anything, it's one of the smarter things he does, that he kind of backs off this kind of vernacular of just being like, yeah, like, I'm not so delusional that like I want to take away people's rights. I'll let the states do that. So it's a pretty clever move there. Though some people are definitely up in arms. I think like Ben Shapiro might be a little mad or whatever. He might be ranting and raving, but whatever. Let's see here. Was there anything else I wanted to pull from this? Like I said, I mean, I overall think this is a fucking bummer. But you got to cover this shit. You got to talk about this shit. Hopefully that kind of awareness, sparks change, or at least, you know what's going on. You know that shit's not getting better. Cause that's the thing for me. I really, for a long time, I think maybe around 2017 for on up until I started doing this kind of shit, I really started getting to a point where I was like, I just want to stick my head in the sand. I just kind of worry about my own shit, and fat lot of good that did me. No, don't get me wrong. I do think at the end of the day, you can only do so much. You shouldn't be trying to be Atlas. You shouldn't be trying to run around changing the world. But at the end of the day, I don't want to just bury my head in the sand and act like nothing's happening. I'd rather at least be on, some side here, at least be talking some kind of shit for or against a thing, whatever. Especially if I feel a way about it, you know what I mean? So that's kind of why we're here. But yeah, let me go ahead and move on to the next bump. Let's see here. From from CNN. Norfolk Southern reaches $600 million settlement to settle East Palestine derailment suit. So we are finally getting an update out of the East Palestine train derailment situation. Let's go ahead and get into it. Norfolk Southern has reached a $600 million settlement that, if approved by a court, will resolve all lawsuits covering thousands of residents within 20 miles of the 2023 East Palestine, Ohio derailment that spilled more than 1 million pounds of hazardous chemicals into the soil, water, and air. The rail company said the settlement is intended to offset costs related to the spill that sent a plume of toxic smoke into the air and displaced many residents and businesses. But Norfolk Southern doesn't admit any liability or wrongdoing as a result of the settlement. Chef's kiss. That's classic. That's how you know professionals are fucking at work. At the end of the day, these things always shake out the goddamn same. Now, I mean, we'll see. I think there's like, the settlement of the class action lawsuit, which subsumed 31 separate cases, also allows residents within 10 miles of the derailment to receive additional compensation. No, that's not what I was looking for. But essentially, I mean, there might be a chance that like this, gets overturned. But overall, this has been agreed by the people in the lawsuit. So 10 days. That's what I was looking for. In a court filing Tuesday, the plaintiff said they expected to file a motion for the judge to approve the settlement within 10 days. Attorneys representing the claimants said they hope to make the claims process easy and efficient to begin sending out payments by the end of 2024. Now, don't get me wrong, $600 million, it's a big number. It's big. That's a big number. But we've talked about this before. When it comes down to trickling down all this money to the people it's supposed to get to, when it goes through the courts, the government's got to get paid, the courts got to get paid, the lawyers got to get paid, all that fucking shit. Then not to mention, okay, is this solving the problems at hand? And that is the biggest question mark, because what are the problems at hand? And I really wanted to read my little highlighted portion here, and then I'll kind of continue on my thought. Following the February 3rd, 2023 Norfolk Southern freight train derailment, residents were ordered to evacuate temporarily. State and federal environmental officials say testing shows the air and water in the town is now safe, but residents still complain of health problems, including burning sensations in their eyes, tingling in their lips, heaviness in their chest, and swelling of lymph nodes in their necks and groins. That's scary shit, man. So this money, it sounds like a lot, but like, what happens if you have some fucking super cancer now from this fucking shit, and all you were trying to do was just live your goddamn life? Or what if it's not you? What if it's you and your kids and your wife, whatever, your spouse? Like, just it's a scary notion. And like, sure, this is a big check, but like by the time it gets to you and you're really assessing the damage of it, and maybe you can't even assess the damage properly yet, because maybe it hasn't fully hit you yet. Maybe the worst is yet to come for you and you don't know. It never feels like it's enough. Like, I always want these motherfuckers to go to trial and have to fucking pay the full cost. Because whenever you hear a settlement number, that's never the full cost. That's these motherfuckers meeting halfway, wringing the shit dry and still saying, okay, we can agree to this. This is enough breakage where we can accept it. Fine, all right. It's not too bad. So I always want these people to pay more. Because they should. They always fucking should. Fuck these people. Fuck Norfolk Southern. Like, because they'll do it again and not care. Like, that's my biggest fear. That's why we were kind of doing Train Watch of all 2023. You know, it definitely feels like Boeing has kind of taken the cake. You know what I mean? It's planes falling everywhere. Jesus Christ. Door plugs, engines, who knows? But, this has been on my mind. I mean, I'm an Ohioan, so this is something I do think about. Granted, it's not a problem that really reached me. I mean, I guess you can, thankful for that, I guess. But who knows? I'm probably filled with microplastics and some crazy cancer. I don't know. It's a scary thing. The older I get, the more I think about that shit, because I know I'm not living right. I ain't eating well. And plus it's just, this is the world we're living in. We're breathing bad shit in every day. Like, learning about acid rain bummed me out as a kid. I'll never forget that shit. I was like, so literally, like, it's like Dungeons and Dragons or something? Like, the rain is just, like, bad and, like, eating away at stone even? That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's a wild, wild world out here. And it's not like we're making it any better. I'm done riffing here. Let's go ahead and move on to the next bump. Excuse me. From CBS News. Idaho teen arrested for allegedly plotting to attack church in name of ISIS. An 18-year-old from Idaho was arrested Saturday and accused of plotting to kill churchgoers in his town in the name of ISIS, according to court documents unsealed Monday. Alexander Mercurio was charged in a criminal complaint with providing material support to a foreign terrorist organization. He remains in custody and has not entered a plea, according to court records. Investigators allege Mercurio was about to attack at least one church in his area on April 7th with guns, knives, and flammable chemicals, but they said they had foiled his plans before he could carry out his plan. Mercurio is accused of writing to an unnamed FBI source that he was set to stop close by the church, equip the weapons, and storm the temple, killing as many people as possible. His goal, according to investigators, was to carry out an act of martyrdom before the end of Ramadan, the holy month observed peacefully by Islam practitioners, according to the Globe, that emphasizes prayers and fasting, and pledged his allegiance to the leader of ISIS. I'm going to perform a martyrdom operation very soon, he allegedly wrote in one recent message. The targets will be various churches in my town. I guess his logic was like, there's too many of these churches and I want to fix that. Like, that's my thing. And like, he was treating this almost like this was something that was going to get him attention, like get him put on almost. And like, to me, this is just a LARPer who really hated humanity, really hated people enough or whatever, and felt like this is it. This is what I want to do. This is going to be my great act, you know? But I really hate this shit, because this is just terrorism in general to me, is that you are taking a religion, you're taking an ideology, and you're saying, yeah, we care about this shit so much that we're going to do evil things. We are going to warp said ideology, said religion, and we're going to do bad shit. And I hate these kind of people the most, because they're just like a characterization of a bad thing that I'm describing, which is terrorism, you know what I mean? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all the same. If you pull the trigger, if you do the thing, you are a terrorist. You are that guy. I mean, you don't want to give these people that moniker, because that's what they're chasing for. Just like the people like, I want to be like Ted Bundy or whatever. Like, they always want to fucking, I want to be a Columbine kid. Like, get the fuck out of here. You're just an evil piece of shit. Like, just point blank period. And, you could just be doing so much better with your life instead of this, but this is the choice you're gonna make. I'm glad that Mercurio wasn't successful here, obviously. I mean, kudos to law enforcement for fucking doing their job there. Whatever. I guess you gotta throw them some bones there on that, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate to hear this kind of rhetoric, to see a person, essentially, I mean, if the FBI wasn't involved, get so close to doing this shit that they were like days away from doing it, and essentially they stopped them right before they were planning it. You know what I mean? So, I'm glad it didn't come to pass. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing I hate the most, is that like, this is the kind of shit that like, inevitably all you're really doing is just trying to sully and dirty a religion, in my mind, or like I said, once again, an ideology, whatever. You're not broadening your goal. You're not, making Islam better. That's never gonna be the way. So it frustrates me to see that shit. Just like, when I was a practicing Christian, you would just see people take like that faith and try to warp it into something else. Like, especially for like, we're talking about the fucking Klan or whatever. It's like they would act like they were fucking Catholic or whatever. It's like, no, you guys are evil people. You're just racist. Like, you're just aping the fucking things that you're seeing in this Bible, this book, this text, and you're like trying to manipulate people into being more like you. Like, that's it. Like, fuck y'all. Tomatoes for all y'all. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is a very bad, crude interpretation of this shit, but I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it, I guess. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and move on to our last bump, our last bit. It is an update. Let me go ahead and do my last break, and then we'll go ahead and close it out. But no, truly though, that shit has always bothered me, man. Like, it's like, dude, what you're doing isn't a jihad, brother. Like, you're just fucking hurting people. You're being evil. That's not what your God wants. Like, it bums me out. You know what I mean? Because you talk to people who actually are about this shit, who actually do practice these religions, and it's like, you're nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, truly, and the text that you have here, it shows me like that these people who are espousing this shit are just liars. You know, they don't mean it. So it just bums me out to see any kind of terrorism at all, just because the rhetoric is so warped and backwards. And then it's like, yeah, we have guns and bombs on our side. You know, like, ugh. Eek. Ugh. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. From CNN. Parents of Michigan school shooter sentenced. Jennifer and James Crumbly, the parents of Michigan school shooter Ethan Crumbly, were sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. The Crumbleys were found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in separate trials earlier this year, but were sentenced together. There's, a bunch of little update details, in the thing. But yeah, I mean, that's more or less closing it out for them. 10 to 15 years. I've talked about this shit a good amount. I feel a bit odd about it, but I will say, yet again, I mean, these were the perfect people to try this shit out on, and it worked. Hook, line, and sinker. And now it's like, I mean, we're not talking about Ethan anymore, the shooter. We're not talking about how you can just kind of have a gun in your house. And like, I mean, yeah, you're supposed to have better protocols and things of that nature, but I don't know. I really don't even know how I feel about that shit in terms of just, the Second Amendment and changing this shit. Like, I'm fighting a tide there. I don't even want to bother. But yeah, I mean, this was a new thing. And like I said, these guys were literally perfect for it. Literally, James Crumley, after his verdict, was like popping shit, like talking shit about like threatening prosecution and shit. I mean, I'm surprised they aren't like adding more to his sentence just for that alone. I think the lawyer tried to say, oh, he was just venting, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, that's a close call, brother. You're lucky. But yeah, I mean, also another thing I wanted to add too from Jennifer Crumley on her sentencing testimony, whatever. She came out and said that, excuse me, that if she would have known that Ethan was, so, upset, was going through so much, she would have done something different, which was was very different from what she said. She said she wouldn't have done anything different when she was on the stand on her trial. So, that's a little bit of the updates. I don't think, though, sentencing them to this 10 to 15 is going to change anything. I mean, maybe for the family, they feel a bit more closure or a bit more, justice was served, I guess. And maybe this becomes more the norm, that we just go out of our way to, like, just hit anyone in the AOE of whoever did the shooting. Like, oh, you're the parents, let's lock them up. Oh, are you, were you a friend? Lock them up. Like, I don't know. I'm exaggerating here. I'm hyperbolizing, but I just think that this is going in the wrong direction. When once again we could just maybe have just less people owning guns. I don't know. I know that sounds crazy. I know. Once again, I've talked about maybe even, owning a gun myself. I teeter totter on that thought. But, I don't know, man. I don't know. This shit's sad. Truly, this verdict doesn't make me personally feel any better. But I get it. I totally do. Once again, boo these people. I'm not a fan. I say brother loosely, by the way. You know what I mean? That's how I talk. But yeah, that's it. That's the episode. That's where I want to close it on that note. Let's see here. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Just donate to the effort. I got some extra episodes if you'd like to look those up. Every once in a while, I think about posting more. Maybe that's a thing. And once again, might bring back the roll call if we get a few more people into the bunch. We'll see. Let's see. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. I'm on all the socials you're probably on, so feel free to contact me there if that's easier for you. Looking at you, Zoomers. Alphas? Is that the new one? Y'all the new ones, right? You shouldn't be listening. I don't think you can, right? This is explicit, so I shouldn't be talking to you. Turn it off. Don't come back. I don't know. Anyway. Let's see. YouTube. We got a new subscriber. We're sitting at 62 subscribers. Bigger than ever. Big following. Love to see it. Thanks for hitting that subscribe button. Hopefully, hit the like button on this episode. Leave a cool comment. Hopefully, you're sharing is caring. It can be fun. Reviews are great. All the stars. 5 stars, please. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully, I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye bye. Mwah.